I'm really hoping for the best for this game, that Eidos-Montreal does hit a home run with this thing, and it does get a sequel and shit like that, so they can join Insomniac and the whole we can do superhero games really fucking well, because it shouldn't all be on Insomniac. And again, with after Crystal Dynamics Avengers, I feel like that being such a dud, it's like, and yes, it still has players, it still has a player fan base, I get it and shit. At least with this, it's like after E3 and everyone kind of slammed on it, it's like it came back with a vengeance and said like, hey, we're not gonna be like what happened to Avengers. Okay, with what we are seeing. So I really do have hopes this will do well next week when it does come out. So my rambling ass aside, Eidos-Montreal, I do hope you have a home run on your hands, and I will be playing it next week.
Victory screech!
And we're laughing. That's good.
It's perfect. This is us. This is how we park.
Well, this is how Quill parks anyways.
We were not fated to die this day. Unless, of course, Fin Fang Foom devours us whole.
Hey, whoa, we gotta find him first. Shall we? Oh, this is insane.
This is how we park, yeah.
What is going on, people? Dre Zero back again, and today we're gonna be reviewing Guardians of the Galaxy. So, after the blunder that was Crystal Dynamics Avengers, people were extremely skeptical on Eidos-Montreal's Guardians of the Galaxy just 4 months ago when it was revealed back at E3. Months passed, and we got more info on the game, especially about the soundtrack. Little did people know that it will be a surprise hit of 2021, and who called it? This guy right here. But patting my back aside, welcome to After Playing Reviews, where I give you my positives as well as the negatives on the game, and I tell you whether or not it's a buy now, wait till discount, or ignore altogether. So let's give a quick rundown of the story, then let's get to the positives. The story takes place several years after a massive interstellar war that left its mark on the galaxy, which is still dealing with the consequences. Among those interested in exploiting the situation are the Guardians of the Galaxy, a ragtag group of mercs / heroes for hire led by Peter Quill, aka Star-Lord, and consisting of the deadliest woman of the galaxy, Gamora, a weapons specialist and inventor, Rocket Raccoon, Rocket's little partner and prime means of backup, Groot, and Drax the Destroyer, who all hope to make quick bank during their adventurous wanderings around the galaxy. However, while attempting to scam wealthy collector Lady Hellbender, a seemingly harmless bet between Quill and Rocket inadvertently triggers a small accident which sets a whole chain of reactions that threaten the peace of an already fragile galaxy unless the team can take responsibility for their actions and save the galaxy in the process. So, needless to say, Eidos has really left their mark with this story. Without getting too far deep into spoilers, this is just what I'm going to give you until you play the game, or just look at the cutscenes on YouTube. To each their own. So let's get into the positive, shall we?
You gotta leave those worries on your shelf.
First positive I would actually give it to would be the presentation. The presentation of Eidos Guardians is absolutely amazing. From the setting, to the visuals of the locations, to the Guardians themselves, Eidos-Montreal did one hell of a job in crafting this game, and I can really feel the passion and love that was put into it. I can definitely see as to why they chose to have Star-Lord be the only playable character, because he nails in what his character nowadays delivers in being the heart of the Guardians itself, especially when having most of the interactions with the group and them interacting with him, whether it be a good reaction or a what the hell Quill kind of reaction. Each important choice when it's presented feels like it matters, and it does as the story progresses, as certain things will happen when the story gets to it. I can definitely see the Deus Ex in the choices DNA whenever Star-Lord has to make an important decision. Aside from Star-Lord, the Guardians themselves act and feel like they're supposed to, with Rocket being a volatile little shit who likes to make everything explode, Drax being a violent, serious walking thesaurus, Groot being Groot, and Gamora being a dangerous sass master who is more open with her feelings in this version, which was surprising to me when I first played it, because I'm so used to the MCU version, but this version is awesome. I just can't undersell how well written the Guardians were throughout the game. From start to finish, I absolutely loved all of them. And the visuals in this game were absolutely amazing as well, as each location that the Guardians went to, I couldn't help but think of what a current gen Deus Ex game would look like each time. I just can't undersell how amazing this game looks in its presentation, with just everything about it. Even the amount of costumes that pay tribute to so many versions of the Guardians look great as well. The second positive I would give is to the soundtrack and music. I can't undersell how great the soundtrack is for this game either. When I was playing Avengers for the little bit that was, because I got bored with it, I can't even remember a single track from that game that left an impression on me. But this, where the hell else are you gonna find a game after a huddle up, never gonna give you up plays in the background as you mow through enemies? It's absolutely insane how well the licensed tracks as well as the original soundtrack even works, even with the Star-Lord band tracks, as I usually found myself headbanging each time one of those tracks came on itself. I absolutely love the Star-Lord band soundtrack in this game. It's amazing, man. Like, they did a phenomenal job with the soundtrack. I am a musical nut now, so when you give me a good ass soundtrack like this, I'm gonna just give you so much credit for this kind of thing. I absolutely love stuff like this. And the third positive I would give is to the open-ended ending and / possible sequel. The story ends with a possibility of more people joining the Guardians later down the line, and with the team being more mature and becoming real, true, honest-to-God heroes for hire after what went down in the game. And throughout the game, it built up plenty of storylines and plot threads that could be brought up and fleshed out in a sequel. I'm just saying, a sequel would really do this wonders. I'm just going to throw it out there. Now, let's get to the negative, shall we? Oh boy.
Okay.
Alright, the first negative I would have to give it to would be the combat. Honestly, this is kind of a middle of the road issue for me, rather than an honest to God real negative. It was more loose and open than Avengers combat, but it does get repetitive as the game goes on. Shoot the enemy, call on a Guardian to stun them, to stun lock them, to do damage, or to get Rocket to throw a bomb, do some dodging, and then melee some if you can, and then rinse and repeat until they die. I can definitely see why people were complaining about the combat. It probably could have done a bit better by switching between Guardians on the fly while in combat, but still keep the huddle up function and Star-Lord making the important calls outside of the combat. Honestly, that probably would have gone a lot better than just, have Quill shoot shit and then call on Guardian, rinse and repeat, and probably do some melee, slide here and there, just, it's really repetitive. The combat is really, really repetitive in this game. Like, it really is. And the second negative I would really have to give it to is the repetitive slog toward the ending. This game has 16 chapters in total, and I cannot help but feel like it could have been cut down to just a tad in length, given how more toward the end of the game just feels like the same type of enemies just come at you in drones before you get to the final boss. The last chapters could have been cut down by just a few. And then some chapters were just short. It just slogged. It just really, really slogged. Between the combat being repetitive and then just it really just was like a crawl toward the ending when you got toward the end. I'm sorry, it really did. But enough about that. Let's get to the final thoughts. Alright, final thoughts. On my buy, wait till discount, or ignore ranking, because I don't give number rankings, I just don't. It just doesn't really appeal to me, and I just use this as a ranking system. I would say if you're a fan of the Guardians of the Galaxy in general, you would have been playing this over the week since it's been out since last Tuesday as I'm recording this. It sits on the verge between a very low buy now and a high wait till discount, especially since this is a one and done single player story. Yes, it has New Game Plus, but after slogging through the last few bits to get to the ending and with the repetitive nature of the combat, you'd probably want to break afterwards anyway. Just saying. I mean, it's like I kind of do after this, because it seriously just is slogged like too much. I do think a sequel would benefit from having the Ratchet and Clank kind of format when it comes to visiting and revisiting locations, even when the combat sections suggestions that I mentioned earlier in the negatives, they could even do that. But even with all of that, even with the negatives that I gave it, I still had fun with the game and what was presented to me, and I even would rank it as one of my personal favorites of this year, even with the faults that it has. I love Guardians of the Galaxy, the story of what Eidos-Montreal told through it with the story, and even as the world building that the game did throughout. This game personally, for me, was definitely worth the price of admission, and I do think it really would benefit with a sequel with all the issues that myself and others have mentioned ironed out, if they ever decide to do a sequel. But no plans of DLC, and I don't know whether or not they're going to do another one of these. So I have thoroughly enjoyed what I was given throughout this game. I loved it. I love the story that they crafted here, even with some characters being mentioned here and there, and then finding out like some characters I didn't even know about until it's like I got to this game, because I've been really more of a MCU head because of Guardians. It's like they weren't as popular as they are now until the MCU got a hold of them, and then James Gunn did his thing. So seeing characters that I've never seen or like mentioned about that I wasn't even aware of, I'm like, yeah, we need more of this. We absolutely need more of this. Eidos, I loved what you got. I would love to see more of the world of the Guardians of the Galaxy universe that you yourself have created. They managed to tell kind of an MCU story in their own way, and it was impressive. Everything about this to me was impressive, even with the faults. So anyway, enough of my rambling ass. I'm getting out of here. Dre Zero signing out. Peace. See you when I see you.